Well, Jim, welcome to the Red Chair. I'm so excited to have you.
Thanks for having me. It's
Absolutely.
great to be here.
It's been long overdue to have a conversation with you and kind of pull back the proverbial curtain of who is Jim.
Yeah.
Well, you are there's so many facets of you and your story, and I'm excited for everyone to get to know you a little bit on a deeper basis. Start us off kind of at the beginning, Jim. Like, what was it like pre-real estate, pre-selling thousands of units and investor and all those great things we can dive into too. But share with us a little bit pre-Jim before what we know you now as now.
Way back in the 90s?
That's right. 90s Jim.
I actually started off my life as a plumber.
Really?
Yeah. I went to a technical high school that I don't even know if they have them around here, but I'm from Connecticut. I grew up on the East Coast. And on the East Coast, they had these technical high schools where half your time in school you would go to regular academics, and then half the time that you would go to your trade, whatever trade you picked. It had plumbing and electrical and carpentry and all, like there's 15 different trades you could pick. And so half of my entire high school career, I was out in the field doing plumbing work.
Wow.
Yeah. And then I graduated with the majority of my apprenticeship hours.
Okay.
And I graduated high school and finished my apprenticeship. And to stay true to my personality type, as soon as I got my license, I was like, I'm kind of done with this. This is boring.
Something different.
I just don't want to do it anymore. My knees were already hurting. My back was hurting. I was like, this is crazy. You have to work really hard when you're a trade person.
Right? On your knees?
On your knees. It's crazy.
On your sinks?
And so I was like, what do I want to do next? And at the time, I really needed the structure and discipline of doing something that was really difficult for me, that I just knew even back then at 19. I needed some structure and discipline, or I wasn't gonna straighten myself out.
Right.
And so I went from plumbing to joining the Marine Corps.
Oh, wow. Talk about a 180.
Yeah. And not just like anything in the Marine Corps, but the infantry.
Oh.
So like, yeah, the hardest thing that you can do within the military, one of the hardest things. And so I spent the next 4 years in the Marine Corps in the infantry. And actually, while I was in the infantry, I left the basic infantry and went into a top secret. I got my top secret clearance and did what's called security forces, which were guarding top secret personnel and that kind of stuff. Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, intense.
Very intense. Very intense. Was in during 9/11.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, in DC.
Whew.
Yeah. I actually drove past the Pentagon about an hour before the plane hit. I was coming home from, funny story, I was coming home from bringing my squad. I was a squad leader at the time. The 5 of us went out to DC to party. And we were partying all night long, driving back from DC back to our base. And so I was driving home from the club with my squad about an hour before the plane hit. And we get back to the barracks. As soon as we fall asleep, sirens are going off everywhere.
Oh, wow.
Like we thought we were under attack. It was like the attack siren, you know? And it was chaos, total chaos. Like we thought we were under attack. Within the next 30 minutes, the base was on lockdown. We were in full riot gear. I was sitting at our front gate of our base behind a 50 caliber machine gun, loaded and ready to shoot, and had the orders to shoot to kill if anything happened. After being up all night. And it was just it was total chaos. We didn't know what we were doing. We had no idea what was going on. We thought that, people were attacking us. And so it was a very, very difficult couple of months. I got through it though.
You did. Yeah, absolutely. You did make it.
I did make it. I made it through.
So what caused you to kind of step out of that, or what happened next, Jim?
Yeah, I mean, so I did my 4 years and I realized early on that, not early on, but through that process of being in the military that I had gotten what I needed out of it. I did it because I needed that structure and discipline, and I allowed myself to fall completely into that and absorb it all. And then I realized that I got what I needed, and now it's time for me to move on. And I think that's where a lot of people tend to get stuck, is that they stay within that structure of that system.
Sure.
And it gets really comfortable.
Yeah.
For a lot of people. For me, it was just it felt terrifying to have to conform to that structure forever.
Yeah.
And I was like, I got what I needed out of it. I have the discipline. I have the knowledge. Like I figured out that I can do really difficult things
Mm-hmm.
and push myself to an extreme. I don't need people telling me to do that anymore. I can figure that out on my own. So I figured it out and then I was done.
And you're like, okay.
Time for the new thing. Next
And
thing.
to stay locked in a system, I'm sure was super challenging for you.
It was very challenging. I got in so much trouble because
Can only imagine.
I got in so much trouble because I'm somewhat of a contrarian anyway.
Yeah.
And so like I'm like smart to a default. And so once you understand the military or any like big structure like that, any organization, you know that they themselves have to confine themselves to the rules that they created.
Yeah.
And once you understand all of the rules and the systems, you know how to go around them.
Sure.
I spent almost my entire military career figuring out how to break the rules and get away with it because I knew how the rules worked so I could get around them.
Your little hacks.
Little hacks. That's why I got promoted very quickly. I figured out how to get promoted, how to make more money, how to go to different trainings, how to go to different units. Like I got out, that's why I got out of the infantry so quickly because I was like, I can go do more fun things.
Yeah.
And so I just figured out how to do that. And I spent my entire career in the military figuring out how to kind of hack the system.
So you hacked it and you're like, I think I'm good.
I think I'm good.
What happened next for you in your journey?
Yeah. So like I got out and I realized that I really did not want another boss again, ever.
Yeah.
And I had this like drive to be, I had an entrepreneurial spirit from the very beginning. And so I got out and I realized that like I just couldn't go back to work for somebody. And I tried it at first because I was terrified of what to do next.
Right.
And so I was like, let me just try being a plumber again really quickly and figuring out if that would work. Like, is this really the thing that I want to do? And I did it. And I was like, oh my God, this is so dumb. I can't do this. I have to get out. And so really quickly, I was like, I need to find the next thing. And at the time, I started dating this girl who ended up, we got married. I ended up marrying her. I dated this girl who was in the lending business.
Okay.
And she was like, you know what, you should really try lending. You should try being a loan officer. And I was like, I don't know anything about that. What does that mean? And I started looking into it. And I knew that my path at some point included me owning real estate and using real estate as a way for me to be an entrepreneur. And just clicked with me because I thought in my head, if I'm really going to be good being an investor of real estate, I need to understand the financial part of it. And so I started working as an LO, not knowing anything, at night during the refi boom. This was 2004.
Right.
The beginning of 2004 when like you literally could just pick up the phone and make six figures.
I know, you're making money hand over fist at that time.
It was crazy. And so I would go do plumbing all day, right? And then go to an office building like this, go into the bathroom, take a bird bath, and clean my hands from all the dirt and the scum of being a plumber for the day, put his tie on and go sit in an office from like 4 or 5 to 8 or 9 p.m. and cold call and just write loans.
Wow.
Not knowing anything.
Yeah.
And I did that for like 6 months straight. And I was like making so much money doing that part-time at night. I was like, this is so dumb. Why am I plumbing? And so I quit that job. I quit being a plumber. And that was the last time I ever did anything like that.
No more toilets.
No more sinks. No more sinks. Yeah. And then I started doing lending full time, which was cool, which was really cool at first. So I learned a lot. I'm really, really glad that I did that at first before becoming a real estate agent because it gave me a really unique perspective.
Sure.
Yeah.
To understand the finances and the numbers.
Understanding the financing. And like we both know that when you're in real estate in the very beginning, most of the people you work with are buyers.
Yeah.
And so it's really helpful to have that perspective from the lending piece of it. But I realized really quickly that like you can make a lot of money on the loan side, at least back then, but it didn't fill me up the way that I wanted it to. It just wasn't exciting. It was just too confining to me. Like I wanted to be more like in the field. But being a loan officer is what was my catalyst for being in real estate.
Sure.
Because that was, again, it was like the market was out of control in 2004. It was just insane. And people were calling in left and right to refinance. And every time I picked up the phone when it rang, my first question, if they were calling to get a pre-approval for lending, my first question is, do you have a real estate agent? 50% of the time they said no.
Really?
Yeah, 50% of the time they were like, no. And so like, I just, in my career, I have this really canny ability to see things to see what the next step is,
that opportunity.
the opportunity where it is.
Yeah.
And so I just started taking my classes to be a real estate agent.
Wow.
And within a few months, I got my license.
Okay.
I hung it with a realty executive's office nearby where I was doing the lending.
What year did you get licensed?
At the end of 04.
Okay.
The end of 04. Yeah. And it was really cool because as soon as I got licensed and I asked that question, I said, well, you know what? You're in luck because I can help you with both.
Yeah.
And back then, there's no licensing for that. All we did was have to disclose, like we were part of that transaction. I started off my real estate career not knowing anything about real estate, having all kinds of buyer clients who I was working the lending side of it.
Sure.
And helping them buy at the same time.
So, I mean, you're suddenly flooded with some incredible opportunities. You're making, I'm sure at this point, great money. What's going on behind the curtain, though, with you during that time in your life?
I didn't have any framework for that level of success. I had no idea how to handle it. And that was a theme for the beginning, like probably first 10 years of my real estate career.
Wow.
I've had a very, I think, different and unique entrance into real estate than most people.
Sure.
Because I came in and did very well very quickly. And just to paint the picture a little bit more before I get into the personal stuff. So I was working, as a licensed real estate agent and also doing the lending. Within like 6 months, the person that I had my license with, the realty executive's broker, took a really strong liking to me.
Okay.
She was like in her 70s. It was like the sweetest old couple that owned this office, and they had like 8 agents. It was a small little office. And she's like, I'm retiring next year, and I want you to take over my business. And I'm like, I don't even know what that means.
Wow.
I don't even know what you're talking about. I'm like a little old buyer's agent. I've done like 7 deals.
Right.
And she's like, I think
Want to run the company?
Yeah, you want to run the company? I'm like, I have no idea what that means, but I'm going to go take all my classes to be a broker. And so in 2006, you have to be an agent for 2 years. 2006, I took my broker's license, passed it, and now I'm a broker. And she's like, perfect, I'm retiring. She's waiting for me to get my license to retire.
Wow.
And so I got my license and she was like, okay, I'm retiring. And I was like, I don't have any money to pay you for the office. And she's like, how about $5,000? I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, just over the next couple of transactions, pay me $5,000 for the company and I'll transfer the franchise to you.
I don't know if you won or lost on that one.
I don't either. I don't know. I was like, I'm still thinking about that. Like, did I actually win? I don't know.
Depends on its value, right?
Right. Right. And I was like, okay. And so here I am, 2 years in the business.
Wow.
As a broker, owner of a company with agents.
Yeah. Don't
know anything about anything. And I'm like, what am I supposed to do with this? What am I supposed to do with this? I don't know what I'm doing.
Right.
And she's like, I'll help you, to get going and all that. And so like, then the market shifted and like we started freaking out because we had no idea like what was going to happen. The market started to turn to really bad. And that's when like all the refinancing stopped and all the purchasing stopped and properties started sitting forever. And I was like, oh God, no, I have like franchise dues to pay and like all this other stuff. I have no idea what I'm doing. And then I don't know if it's just luck or just being in the right place at the right time or seeing opportunity. But I had a friend of mine that I was in the Marine Corps with that called me that was doing real estate in DC. And he called me up one day. I never forget this. And he was like, you're not going to believe this, but I just had a listing emailed to me. I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, I signed up for these banks and they foreclose on properties and they need local agents to resell them for them. And I signed up with a couple of these banks. I did these things called BPOs, broker price opinions. They saw my name a couple of times and they gave me a listing. I'm like, I want to do that.
Yeah.
I want to do that. And so I signed up for all these banks nationally to be a listing agent for them. And in the beginning, they don't give you listings. Like at least back then, this is how it worked. They don't give you listings. You do a ton of these BPOs. And they paid for them, right? You got money for it. It wasn't much. It was like $50 or $75 for an exterior, $100 to $150 for an interior. And I started doing a ton of these. And so my buyer agent business kind of dried up. And I started doing BPOs. And I was like, I can do a lot of these.
Yeah.
So I started doing like 10 a day, 10 of these BPOs a day.
Sure.
People started noticing that. I was making really good money just doing that. And then banks started noticing I was doing a bunch of those. And I started getting listings from these banks. Then the market tanked completely. And as soon as the market tanked and everybody was freaking out, I had already set myself up
Wow.
for the other side of the business, which was
Uh-huh.
all of the foreclosures. And again, very new in the business,
Yeah.
not knowing anything about anything. I was flooded with business,
Hmm.
like an incredible amount of business. I went from having nothing to like from 2008 until 2012 or 13, I was closing between 300 and 400 foreclosures a year.
And it goes to say it's like there really is an opportunity
Anywhere.
in any market,
Yep.
no matter what, if you position yourself and can see it ahead of
Yeah. Yeah. Like there is a niche or a market to be made in any market. I'm convinced of that.
That's
At
right.
this point. That level of success is very strange. You know, when you're closing 30 deals a day sometimes, how do you reconcile with that coming from absolute nothing?
Sure. I mean, that's a ton of money.
It's a ton of money. It's a ton of money. Yeah, it was an insane amount of money that I had no frame of reference for.
Right.
Like we weren't wealthy growing up. You know, we were lower middle class and didn't have a lot and struggled a lot growing up. And so that was my frame of reference for money. And you come into it very quickly with no frame for it. It's kind of a strange situation. I had 9 people working for me.
Mm.
I had an office, I had payroll. I don't have a business degree.
Yeah.
I have no idea how to actually run a company. I have zero idea what I'm doing. It's like everything is put together with a Band-Aid. And I'm just like going to bed, hoping that things are going to be okay the next day and waking up and being like, is it okay? Is it actually okay? Is something going to blow up? You know, like I would have to call my accountant and be like, am I going to be able to pay my taxes this year? You know, like
Right.
when you have, close to $1 million in GCI,
Mm-hmm.
it's really hard to figure that out.
Yeah.
Like, especially, and I was like, I don't even think I was 30 yet.
Mm.
I don't think I was 30, and I didn't go to college. I had none of that reference, right? It was just like thrown to the wolves.
Yeah.
And it's weird because it's like you dream of the day that you have that level of success, but you don't understand what it feels like to be there before like you feel like it's ready to be there.
Mm-hmm. Become that person.
How to become that person.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Like talk about imposter syndrome.
Right.
Like I didn't feel like I paid my dues enough to be able to be this successful, and then from the outside, it looks like you have it all together.
Sure.
It looks like you just figured out the code.
Yeah.
Like you figured out the cheat code to real estate and you're doing incredible. And on the inside, I was like terrified
Wow.
the whole time. Terrified. And that causes problems. It causes problems on a marriage. It causes problems like in your personal life with all your relationships because there's no relief valve.
Yeah.
I didn't have a relief valve to push. My relief valve came in the method of self-destruction. Like I didn't understand how to maintain a relationship, like a marriage like that, because my work totally consumed me. There was nothing left. And so and this was 6 years after I had been married and we had been doing real estate in a successful way. My marriage started to fall apart. My wife moved out and I was in a very vulnerable state. I was still working 14 hours a day, trying to keep everything together. Now going through a divorce. And so I was in a very vulnerable place and looking for a way to relieve that pain.
Yeah.
And as luck would have it, I was out at a bar one night with a friend and feeling very stressed out. And he handed me an Oxycontin pill. And I was very naive at the time to understand what the danger of that was. And I took it and like, this is still clear as day.
I'm sure.
Like it was yesterday.
Yeah.
And I took it and I remember thinking to myself, this is the answer to all of my prayers.
Wow.
It felt like heaven just ascended on me and put a warm blanket around me and just said, you are completely comforted. All of my anxiety disappeared. All of my depression disappeared. All of the stress disappeared. And I was like, I can figure life out this way. In this state that I feel right now, I can deal with anything. And what a terrifying thought.
Yeah.
What a terrifying thought.
To find the answer.
To find the answer.
Like that.
It was like, and I knew then that this is a problem from the very beginning. And it got bad very quickly because like it wasn't for pleasure. It was to relieve something that was like deeply embedded inside of me that I didn't want there anymore.
Mm.
And I didn't know how to get rid of it. And this was the way that I got rid of it. And so it became a pretty bad problem very quickly,
Wow.
to the point where I was, spending like $200 a day just taking enough pills to keep from getting ill, because that's what it turns into. It turns into, in a crazy quick amount of time, it turns into, this feels really good. I can get through my day. I need this to get through my day, to, if I don't take it, I'm going to be in withdrawal in 4 hours.
Mm.
And it's like almost immediate.
Wow.
It's almost immediate, like within 6 months.
Were you just experiencing like physical pain and
Yeah. I mean, yeah, like I remember vividly that there were times where I would take a pill so that I could fall asleep,
Mm.
and then I would wake up in withdrawal,
Wow.
like in cold sweats, like bouncing out of bed in cold sweats, being like, I need another pill or I'm going to throw up and I have to go to the hospital. And so, like, imagine the prison that I put myself in of that. It's hard to describe how lonely that feels, because at that point, there's no escape. There's zero escape. You're completely tied to something to keep your life going, your whole life, nothing else mattered. Relationships didn't matter. My business didn't matter. Nothing mattered. The only thing that mattered was making sure that I had enough to get by, and making sure that I had enough money to pay for it.
Wow.
Yeah, there were times where it would take me 4 hours out of my day to go drive around finding enough pills to be able to get through the week.
How many pills on average would it look like, to make it through a day?
To make it through a day, 10, sometimes 10 pills a day.
And did it even give you that sensation that you first had at all?
No.
No.
No. It literally was just at that point, after that amount of time and after that much, your body becomes so accustomed to it that it's literally, you take it to stop from getting so physically ill that you can't move. It's like the withdrawal of that is so intense that you immediately go into like convulsions and sweats, and you feel very cold and then very hot, and then you get, you want to throw up. And so, and your muscles ache all the time. You also get extremely bad constipation.
Yeah.
So like everything hurts. Everything hurts. And so you just take a pill so that for a couple of hours, nothing hurts anymore.
Yeah.
I tried to go through treatment a couple of times on my own through doctors. Like, none of it worked. I came very close to ODing a few times. There's this one time that I was actually at my office, and I'd taken accidentally too many pills. And I got on the phone with Kelly, who is now my wife, my girlfriend at the time.
Yeah.
And I said, I need you to be on the phone with me in case I pass out. And if I pass out, please call the doctor. Please call an ambulance, because I think I did too much this time. Like, think about what that does to her.
Yeah.
In that situation. She's like, what? You might die right now? It was that bad.
Wow.
It was that bad. So, yeah.
For you, what was kind of that tipping point or that bottom for you? Was it that moment, or was it there another moment where you're like, you know what, I don't even recognize myself and something has to change?
Yeah, there was a couple of moments. There was that moment. I wished it was like that. I wish it was like one thing that happened.
Yeah.
But it, like, you're so entrenched into that life, it's really hard to like break out of it. That's why I really feel for addicts, because most people that have never gone through that don't understand the struggle that it really is and how hard it is to break it, especially with opiate addiction, because it's so powerful. But there was that moment, and then there was another moment. I can't remember if it was before or after this, but there's another moment that I'm gonna talk about on Tuesday, where it was just like one of these really innocuous things that you just don't think is a big deal, but it is a big deal.
Yeah.
I was sitting in my apartment at the time by myself, sitting on my couch, and I had just gotten back from hours long journey trying to find pills, and like ignoring all my calls and ignoring my business, and just completely strung out, basically, and overly exhausted, and just like no desire to really even want to live anymore. And I was sitting on my couch, and I was 37 years old at the time. And I was sitting there, and I just, for some reason, this had been 2.5 years of addiction at this point. And for some reason, I had never considered myself an addict.
Wow.
I guess I was in that much of a denial. that I was like, I'm not what you would consider an addict. And I remember sitting on my couch and finally for the first time, for whatever reason in my brain, loud as day, it was like, you're an addict, you idiot.
Wow.
You're an addict. Like you're a full-fledged addict. And something about that acceptance of it finally
Mm.
was a huge release.
Mm.
You know, because I've been like hiding it from myself for that long,
That denial.
the denial of it.
Yeah.
And then I was just like, the first feeling was like this huge weight that was lifted. And then the second feeling was like massive amounts of shame.
Mm.
It's like, how could you do this to yourself at 37 years old? Like, if you're going to be an addict at 21.
Yeah.
You know, be an addict before you're a freaking business owner, before you have a company and employees and like people counting on you. Do it then. Why are you going to do this to yourself at 37 when you have massive amounts of responsibility and people counting on you to get paid?
Mm.
You know? And so that created an incredible amount of shame around that.
Sure.
You know, it's like 37 years old, really? You're going to be an addict now? Or why don't you do it when you're 47? It's like, it was, I don't know why, but like it took me to that point
Yeah.
to realize that I was an addict. But then once I had that bit of acceptance, I finally started looking at like, okay, how can we fix this? How can we fix this thing? And at that point, you know, like I just knew in my mind that traditional methods of trying to heal myself weren't going to work.
Yeah.
I'm again like too. I don't know if the word is smart, but I'm like I feel like that I can beat like I don't know how to put it, but the only way that I can think about it is that I'm too smart for rehab, where I can outsmart the whole
Right.
thing. Like
You'll
I can,
hack it just
I'll
like
hack
you
it. I
did
can
your
game the system.
military days.
Like I'll be able to figure out and weasel my way out of it in some way.
Sure.
Like that's how my brain works. Like I see something and then I have to figure out how to get around it.
Yeah.
And so I knew that about myself. And I knew that if I went to AA or NA or went to a hospital and just got clean and then started like an NA thing, that it wouldn't work for me.
Mm.
And then I started researching the statistics of those programs. And they're like a 17% success rate. AA is 17%. NA is less than 17%.
That's alarming.
Yeah. And so I was like, I looked at that and I was like, there's no way that I'm putting my life into 17%.
Mm.
There's got to be something else. There's got to be a different way. I can't even do that. Like my brain was like, that's just not going to work. Like I can't dedicate that much energy into something that may not work, that has a probability of not working. So I started researching alternative ways of getting clean or alternative ways of healing from addiction. And that's when I came across some really unique and incredible ways to heal yourself. And one of them, the one that I ultimately decided on doing, is something that's not legal in the US because it requires taking a substance that is a Schedule I drug in the US. But there are incredible healing facilities outside of the United States, all over the world, where they have these treatment facilities that you go to, specifically geared to opiate addiction.
Okay.
Where you go there for a 7-day period and you take this medicine called ibogaine, which is a synthesized component of a plant called iboga, which is a very strong psychedelic that is found in this very small country of Africa. And somehow, a long time ago, somebody found out this medicine that's used by indigenous tribes in Africa in this really small country of Gabon that they've been using for centuries for their own healing as a sacrament. Somebody figured out that this is a very effective way to heal from opiate addiction. It's really amazing how it actually works. There's an alkaloid in the iboga that when you take it, it attaches to the opiate receptor in the brain and it stays there for up to 2 months. So after you take the iboga, there's a 2-month window where you lose all of the craving of your addiction because it stays attached to your opiate receptor. So your brain isn't screaming for opiates. So you have this really unique window that you don't get anywhere else.
It's like it turns down the noise.
It turns the noise off completely. Yeah. It's amazing.
Wow.
And so after being, an addict for 3 straight years, where I was spending $200 a day, taking 2 to 250 milligrams a day of Oxycontin, which is, if you took that right now, you'd die.
Mm.
In 7 days, I left that place completely healed. So it was, like going back, looking back on it, I was like, man, you must have been very desperate because this place was in central Mexico,
Okay.
in the middle of nowhere, right?
Right.
An hour south of Mexico City in this small little town of like ancient ruins.
Mm-hmm.
I had no idea where I was going. They're like, we'll pick you up, in a cab and bring you down here. I could have been going, who knows where I would be going. And actually, they turned me down at first
To come to the facility.
to come to the facility
Okay.
because at the time that I went there, I had started to get myself clean because I thought that was the right thing to do. So when you try to get clean medically from opiates through a doctor, they give you medication, right? They give you other medication that helps you heal, and you wean off of that. So I told the facility that actually taking opiates anymore, I'm seeing a doctor. I thought they were going to be real proud of me. And I'm like, I'm seeing a doctor and I have this medication that I'm taking, and they're like, we can't accept you.
Wow.
And I'm like, what do you mean? He was like, the damage that those medications do, and because they stay in your system so long, if we administered the iboga to you, there's a risk that you would die. So he's like, what you have to do is be completely off of that medication for 30 days before you can come back, before you come down here. And I was like, okay, hold on. So what you're telling me is that I have to now call all of my dealers back and go get a 30-day supply of opiates and be on opiates before I can come down to see you. And he was like, not only that, but you'd be better off just taking heroin.
Wow.
And I'm like, why is that? And he was like, because at least heroin is closer to the natural
Mm-hmm.
opioid, like the plant, the opium plant. And the closer you get to the organic source, the easier it is to clear out of your system. The more chemically enhanced something is, or the more processed it is,
Yeah.
the harder it is to get out of your body. So like, it's just not safe for you to come down here and take this medication. You're better off just taking heroin for 30 days. I'm like, this is insane. This is insane. So I had to get off that medically supervised, approved, FDA approved medication
It's crazy.
to go and call all my dealers who I threw all their numbers away
Mm.
to then go and get back on Oxycontin for 30 days before I could go down there. Wild times.
That is so wild.
Wild times. And then so like I go down to Mexico, completely high, like having a good old time, right? And then I get into this, they meet me on the plane, meet me coming off the plane, I get into this taxi, and they drive me an hour and 45 minutes into this like mountain town in the middle of nowhere. And I'm just like, no one's gonna find me ever again.
I'm gone
I'm
forever.
gone forever. What am I doing? And you pull up to this little place in the middle of nowhere, and it's just like this little treatment facility. I wouldn't even call it like a retreat center. It was just like a place in the middle of the woods that had some like buildings in it. And I'm like, I'm going to die here. I'm never coming back.
Mm.
And they were the kindest, gentlest, most like wonderful beings that were there taking care of me that whole time. Because in order to actually start the procedure of taking this medicine, you have to be in full withdrawal.
Mm.
So you get there and they take all of your stuff, all of your clothes, all of your belongings, and go through the whole thing to make sure that you didn't bring any pills with you.
Yeah.
And then there's 4 of us there at a time. And all 4 of us had to be in a room in full withdrawal, in full view of everyone. Because if you take this medicine while you're on opiates, it'll kill you. So they have to really make sure, and be safe. And there's a doctor there the whole time.
Sure.
They're very, very safe. And so there's 4 of us in a room, in the fetal position, sweating and vomiting. And it was a nightmare. And then they start administering the medicine. And it's like the next 36 hours, very hard to describe the next 36 hours, off to a different land.
Mhm.
And then I came out of that and I cried for like an hour straight because for the first time in 3 years, I truly felt free of this thing. Completely free. No craving, no more muscle contusions, no more. It's just like a huge monkey off my back that has been there for a very long time.
Was there something that you learned in those moments that unlocked that for you or gave you some sort of insight? Or was it more of a, I feel free from the addiction in my body?
Yeah. So the reason why this medication is so effective is because it works in two separate ways.
Mm.
The first way is that it physically relieves you of the addiction by this opiate receptor being cleared out and the medication attaching to it. That's the first way, right? The second way is that because this is a very, very strong psychedelic medication and you are in the throes of it for 36 hours straight, there is a what I would call spiritual component
Mm-hmm.
that, and it's different for everybody, but for me, it allowed me the space to be able to have insight into my life that I didn't have access to before.
Wow.
Right. And so a quick story about that.
Sure.
One of the things that happened to me during that time was I completely left my body.
Mm.
I wasn't attached to my body anymore. And I was kind of like floating around in space in the middle, like in just complete darkness. And I was like, what is happening to me right now? I have no idea what's going on, just like kind of floating around in complete darkness in space. And as soon as I asked that question to myself, a movie screen showed up in front of me and popped down like a huge movie screen.
Yeah.
On that screen started playing all of the memories of my life from my childhood.
Mm.
So like from the time that I was like 2 years old.
Wow.
And as these clips of my life start filtering through, I'm thinking, what is the purpose of this? Why am I being shown all of these clips? And as soon as I asked the question, the immediate response that I got was, these are all of the moments in your life that caused the trauma that led to your addiction. Like these are the little things that happened to you that seemed insignificant at the time that over the course of your life led to you needing the addiction to feel okay with life. And because you didn't have the tools available to you to deal with that at the time, it led to the addiction, and it's not your fault.
Mm. I'm sure that felt like just so much shame and like lifted off, and you were able
Completely.
to see it from a whole different vantage point.
Yeah. I mean, to be able to witness events of your own life from a third party perspective is pretty unique.
Yeah.
And I was able to do that in a way that I would have never had access to before. And yeah, really helped me understand the way that life actually works.
Mm.
And that I don't have to blame myself for this stuff. Of course, like you leave that space and you tend to forget
Yeah.
that kind of thing. That one stuck with me, obviously. But then life happens. And then, like my addiction caused so many problems for so many people. Like it does with most people with addiction. It's not something that happens to you. It happens to your entire world around you. And so it took a long time to build up from the destruction that caused and having to rebuild relationships and do a lot of that. And each time you have to go through that, some of that shame starts creeping in.
Mm.
Right. And so it's really important to continue to maintain that level of awareness and maintain that level of self-care so that you're able to keep remembering as you're rebuilding that these things are not your fault and it's okay and there's nothing wrong with you.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to remember that. A good example of it is while I was still at the treatment facility, I think it was on like day 5, where I had gone through the whole thing and feeling really good about myself. And I'm like, I beat this thing.
Yeah.
I'm going to call my ops manager and tell them everything that's happened and just like start the ball rolling of like the rebuilding of my life. I was like feeling really good about myself. And I called her up and I'm like, like I told you that I was coming here for a vacation. I'm really not here on vacation. I've been an addict. And I wanted you to know that. And I'm working on myself. I'm getting clean.
Wow.
And she's like, she said 2 things. I thought the next sentence out of her mouth was like, "We all know that you're an addict." You idiot. You really think you hid that from us? We've known for years that you're an addict. And I was like, oh my God.
I think the relief, right?
Yeah, but like, how could I have possibly thought that I hid it that well? Like this is total addict behavior,
Yeah.
by the way, is like they think that they're very sneaky. And she's like, we knew you were an addict for the last 2 years. Like you thought you were hiding that from us. We knew why you were there.
Mm.
And I was like, okay. And then the next thing she said was, I'm really happy for you. But you have $25 in your business account and you can't make payroll. And I went from here
Yeah.
to went all the way back down again. And I was like, okay, this is now my starting line.
Mm.
This is my point where I have to start from. This is why being down there and going through what I went through gave me this strength to be able to take that information and use it as a place to start from instead of going back into the hole.
Mm-hmm. It's like you were able to heal, and now you're coming up from like baseline to now integrate and then rebuild your life and your business.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah. That's a lot. Well, I think, for you, just realizing you've grown that team in that season of your life, you've built your investment piece. What does your team look like during that time? What does business look like for you in 2020, 2022?
Yeah, so between like 2020 and 2022, 2023, it was almost all traditional real estate, which was going really well. We're closing a lot of business. I had brought 4 to 5 agents in the company, as agents in my real estate brokerage, and that was going well too. They were all investor agents
Yeah.
that were doing investment real estate too and traditional. I have 3 admin and I had a showing partner.
Okay.
So that's what this team kind of office structure looked like at the time. And we were doing a really, really good business. And that continued on until about 2023. That's when an opportunity came up with a development, a housing development in South Texas.
Mm.
And my partner in our investment company, Jonathan, who was an agent in our office at the time in my company, came to me and said, I have a development friend that wants to use us as their agent in Texas, and they have like 13,000 lots or something for sale that they're building houses on. And he's like, we got to open a company up in Dallas. And I'm like, that's not happening, man. That's not going to happen. Right at that time, like right at that time, he got an invitation to go to Mega Camp.
Yep.
And he came to me and he's like, hey, I'm going to Mega Camp. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, don't worry about it. I'm not gonna go anywhere. I just really want to learn from them how their investor agents are doing well. And I think they're going to talk a lot about investment real estate at Mega Camp. And I want to learn from that. Plus they're paying for it. It's free. I'm just going to go check it out. They're like, all right, let me know how it goes. So he goes to Mega Camp and he talks to Robin, who was the team leader here at the time. And he says, I have this thing. I don't know what to do about it. And she goes, I have an answer for you. Have Jim come into the office. We'll work it out together. I think we can figure something out here. And he was like, he's never going to join KW. He has his own company. She's like, I'm not going to even ask. We're just going to talk about how to do this business deal together.
Yep.
And she brought us in and she came in here. I was very reluctant to come in. Had my hands crossed, and she came up with a really amazing plan on how we could structure a deal together where we were just paying a referral fee to KW and like a satellite office of KW would get set up in Texas. It's this really amazing deal. We talked about it for like an hour and a half and not one time did anyone there ever say anything about me coming to Keller Williams. And I was really impressed by that. And so about a week goes by and I called Robin up and I'm like, how come you didn't try to recruit me? And she's like, if you want to come in and talk about it, we'll talk about it. And I wasn't really sure at the time what to do. This was a little while ago. And I started thinking that, again, I get these feelings about how things have to shift, right? And where am I going to go next? Where am I going to go for the next part of my career? What am I going to do? And I get these hunches about something that needs to change, but I just don't know what it is yet. And then something like this happens, and some kind of a door opens up. This has happened a lot in my career. I started thinking that I'm 85 to 95% of my business in my brokerage. If I ever want to retire, how am I going to replace my own income? How am I going to ever go on vacation without having to work the whole time? How am I going to build a brokerage that is successful without me closing a transaction? How am I going to build a business where I don't have to transact for it to make money? And the answer to that was, you have to spend a lot of time and a lot of money creating something that people want to come to, and have this huge thing built out, right? Being an indie brokerage is very difficult.
Yeah.
It's extremely challenging. I don't know that it's going to be a thing very much longer. I think it's being pushed out by large teams. Anyway, it's going to be challenging for small indie brokerages to continue to function.
Sure.
It was challenging for me to be able to make any money unless I was doing everything.
Yeah.
So I could either spend a lot of money and develop a program where agents would want to come to and take a bunch of time to develop that, or I could figure out a way to offload that
Mm-hmm.
in a partnership
Right.
with another company and focus on the things that I want to focus on, which is working with buyers and sellers, working with agents, coaching agents, doing investment properties, the things that I'm passionate about.
Right.
I'm not passionate about building a training company.
Exactly.
Who wants to do that?
Right.
You know,
Restocking the toilet paper.
restocking the toilet paper. Like, I don't want to deal with E&O companies. You know what I mean? Like, I have zero desires to do that for compliance, any of it. I don't want to underwrite a file.
Right.
So I had to make a choice. How am I going to replace myself? How am I going to get myself out of my own business so that I can not do that anymore and do other things? How am I going to retire in 10 years if I'm doing everything? And the opportunity that was created here made so much sense to me when I was looking through it through that lens.
Yeah.
Offloading the things that I don't want to deal with anymore and creating more time and leverage and opportunity for me to do the things that I really want to do. And so I made a decision to build a team in Keller Williams. And it's been fantastic because it's created those opportunities. I'm able to have time to coach agents now.
Yeah.
I'm able to have time to develop a real estate portfolio that continues to grow. I'm able to build a team and bring on really amazing agents into that team and coach them and train them in a way that has them winning and still have enough time to do all of that. I couldn't do that as a broker owner. You know, I could bring people in and have them be on their own and have them kind of figure it out, or I could do it this way and actually make a big impact on people. And for the past however long I've been here now,
Yeah.
my life has completely changed.
Mm.
I'm so much happier about where I am in business now. I'm so much happier about being able to make a real impact in people's lives. And it's a very freeing feeling to know that you're making such a big positive impact on somebody else's life that you can see play out in the real world. They're doing more business, they're creating more happiness, they're developing better relationships. All of the things that we coach on, you're seeing it happen. You're seeing it play out with them.
Yeah.
And I have the space to do that now, which I didn't before.
That's beautiful. And I mean, I know that that lights you up.
Mhm.
Being able to pour into your people, being able to meet people where they're at, coach, like you're actually now coaching agents as a full-time coach in a lot of capacity, and pouring into your own team. That's just something that when you're buried in the admin work and you're buried in logistics, it's really hard for that to feel fulfilling when you've got all that daunting overhead.
Yeah, I just don't have the brain power for it. I don't have the mental capacity to do all of that and have enough space left over to pour into somebody.
Right.
It's really either one or the other. And now I have the capacity to do it and I see it happening. I see agents in our team shifting their perspective and doing really well and seeing that the work that I'm putting into it, the work that we're doing for them is helping.
Yeah.
It's growing their business. It's expanding their knowledge base. It's helping them learn how to invest in real estate. Those things are all happening and I'm able to watch it happen, which is really cool. You know,
And
it's
that's
like
the stuff that like changes people's lives forever. You know, when you can pour into them on that way, it's not just one transaction. When they really understand how investing works, I mean, that's 20-fold compounded out. It's just so powerful. And I love that you get to do that with your own people.
yeah, it's really cool to see that light switch turned on, the investing switch.
For sure.
Not just for themselves, but them having the confidence to go out and get investor clients to add to their business.
That's right.
This is something that personally I'm extremely passionate about with agents in particular, because we have such an easy in with investing in real estate, being in the business.
That's
Like
right.
when you compare it to somebody else, an agent investing in property is so much simpler than somebody else investing in property.
Yeah.
And so when you add on that there's an entire group of people that could be your clients that aren't because they're investors and you're afraid to do it. And then you change 10% of what you're doing already, learn a little bit about investing, and now you've added an entire new pillar onto your business with doing very little, spending very little money and a little bit of time understanding what investing is. To add that much potential into your business for that little upfront cost and time is crazy to me that more people aren't doing this.
Yeah. And I mean, it's like if they don't know what they don't know, it's hard for them to see that space. But you're right. It's one of the easiest runways in real estate to jump into because it's infinite transactions. If you can help investors find something that cash flows or is a deal or appreciates, they're all over it and they're happy to pay for it.
Not only that, but investors, what do? They invest.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
And so you have clients that keep coming back and
Exactly.
buying multiple properties. You know, my business is built a lot on investor clients. We close a lot of investor deals every year. And the majority of them are repeat clients that are just continuously buying and selling, building a portfolio, selling a property off, adding a new one on. And so there's several clients that we have that will do 5 to 10 transactions a year. That's gold.
Oh, it's huge.
That's gold.
The bread and butter of everything.
Yeah.
I mean, and then if they tell one or two friends that end up jumping in and becoming an investor, I mean, that's those infinite returns over time that really compound.
The other thing that I think it's missed too is the point about once you get really good learning how to work with investors, exponentially increases your knowledge about how to work with traditional clients.
That's right.
The way in which I'm able to work with investor clients enhances my ability to work with traditional clients, and vice versa. The way that I work with regular traditional clients enhances my ability to work with investor clients. They work hand in hand. There are things that happen on each side of that transaction that are important for the other person to know that they don't. And so,
tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah. So when we're working with an investor client, they don't really care about how their furniture looks in the living room. They don't care about Thanksgiving dinner with their family in a house. They care about things like, how is this roof going to affect the 5 years that I own the property? Is there new commercial property being built around the corner that's going to lower the value of my home? Is the layout of this property conducive if I want to rent it out to a co-living facility? They're looking at ways that they can maximize value, maximize the return over time with equity and with cash flow, right? So when you're working with an investor client in that capacity, those things come up that are important also with traditional buyers that you typically wouldn't have that conversation with if you didn't know that those things matter, right? Because your clients are going to live in that house for 5 to 7 years on average, right? So don't you think it's important for them to know what's going to happen to that house and that community and their neighborhood in the next 5 to 7 years?
Absolutely.
So those same questions you're asking for the investor client about a return is the same questions and answers that your traditional clients need to know about their house. So yeah, my ability to be a good investor agent has dramatically helped my ability to work with traditional clients.
Yeah. And I mean, you become almost a coach to your clients, and then in turn, you learn from your clients as well, especially great investor clients. They teach you something through every transaction.
Yeah. Another really good example is that when I do this myself and I coach this to everyone on our team. When we do a first time meet with a new buyer, on our first buyer consultation, I'm having the conversation with them about investing in real estate. From the very first conversation. I know that you are buying this property because you really want to own property and you really want a place for your family to go. But as we're going through this process, I'm going to always be teaching you and coaching you and showing you how that we can have that and we can possibly change your financial future by using this property as leverage to grow your wealth.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to show you how to do it on this property, and I'm going to show you how to do it with other properties. And so I'm having those conversations in the very beginning because I think it's super important for people to understand that buying a house is a big deal. And for most people, It is the only thing they have left to drive wealth,
Mm-hmm.
especially in a way that doesn't require a bunch of money. If you invest in the stock market and you need to do well at that, you need $100,000.
Yeah.
You need a lot of money to start with. When you buy real estate, I don't know of another investment vehicle where you could have as little amount of money up front to buy in with as much equity gain in the future as there is. And so they need to know what to do with that, how to use that and not buy another car with it.
That's right.
How do we use that
That's right.
and not use it to waste money and use it as an ATM to live your life and use that as the extremely rare opportunity that it is to use that equity to change your entire family's financial future. We need to be having those conversations right away because it's all we have left.
And I mean, that's such a different conversation than your traditional agents having about, hey, do you want to live in this part of the city or this part of the city? I mean, and that's gold to your clients. I'm sure they feel led and coached and mentored a little bit throughout the process.
Maybe a little bit intimidated at first because I could be a little bit intense about it.
There's a theme, right?
I can't help it because it's like, I really want to see people win. I really want to see people do well. And it kills me when they refinance and pay off credit card debt.
Yes. And they miss that huge opportunity.
And they miss that huge opportunity that they have laid out right in front of them, especially if you bought a house in 2018.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like your house is double in value.
Easy.
In what, 8 years?
Yeah.
The house is double in value. Like what else could you do to gain that much wealth? So if we're not as...
And only 20% down too.
Right.
I mean, that's...
Or 3.
Right.
Exactly. So I think that as a professional in this business, as a real estate professional, it is our responsibility to instruct people how to take that gift and turn it into wealth. And that's why like in my team, in my business, and with the people that I coach with, I try to get them away from being labeled as a real estate agent. I think that we need to shift the culture around that and stop being real estate agents because real estate agents are kind of a thing of the past, especially with AI. We have nothing left, really. We have nothing left that the average consumer can go out and get in 10 minutes. You being in business for 5 years or you being in business for 1 year or 20 years, it's almost doesn't matter anymore because the information is so readily available.
That's right.
The only thing that we have left is the relationship. And so to build trust and relationship, we need to do something different. We need to stop being a real estate consultant and we need to be wealth strategic planners. We need to be able to have real estate be a small piece of the pie of the total wealth management that we're creating for people.
That's right.
We need to be the first call no matter what they do. If they want to buy and sell real estate, that's great. If they want to do repairs, that's great. If they want to shift from a 401k to something else, let's talk to them about the ways that they can do that. Even if they don't want to do it through real estate, let's be the point of contact so that we can get them out to the right person. We need to be the first point of contact for everything that they do so that real estate ends up being one piece of much bigger pie that they're coming to us for.
Yeah. And to be that wealth advisor that's strategically guiding them throughout the journey of their home ownership, their life, and then almost becoming a planner, if you will. Because how do we even pass these assets off generationally? I mean, there's so many things as agents. If we think differently, we become. Imagine
the impact that you would have in your community if your clients had a parent that was dying, and they came to you first to find out what to do with their portfolio.
Yeah.
Or like, how do I financially plan for what's about to happen next? And you were their first thought.
Yeah.
That's an incredible shift. Even if they don't have a house to sell,
Because you could, as agents, we can teach our clients how to set things up and structure them correctly, or God forbid, after the fact. But still, it's having that knowledge base and having that understanding about the market and about creative options.
Right. And I'm not telling real estate agents to go be professionals at everything. I'm not saying go learn everything. I'm saying build a network around you that is strong enough that when people think of these things, they call you first and then you refer them out to the people that matter.
And not being afraid to hold up your hand and say, hey, I want to learn and I want to be around and surrounded by people that are doing those things too.
When I have past clients that call me and they say, I just had my roof redone, it kills me inside.
Yeah.
It kills me inside because I know that they overpaid.
Right.
I know they did.
Sure.
You know, like, and so I harp on that constantly. Don't do anything to your house. Don't do any work on your house. Don't do anything. Call me first, please. Call me if you need anything done with the property. Even if you think it's insignificant, please call me first because we can do so much more.
Yeah, and it's those relationships and, that ability to see down the road, and they haven't faced that yet. And, we have every day, twice on Tuesday. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jim, I know right now, one of the things that you kind of picked up is coaching. Tell me a little bit about how that landed in your world and why that's important to you right now.
It landed naturally because I love doing it, first of all. But how do you know you love doing it before you do it? But I knew that there was something, I knew that I had to do it because I've talked to so many agents that have been in the business for a long period of time and have not planned for retirement, not planned for how to get out of the business, how to stop transacting. Like, all that's being taught to real estate professionals is how to grow. No one is ever teaching you how to get yourself out of the growth.
Right.
No one teaches that.
Yeah.
No one says that. Everyone says that you have to do transactions until you die, and hopefully you saved something because no one tells you how to save either. So do transactions until you're 80 years old because that's all that everyone tells you to do.
Right.
And so I saw that and I was like, man, agents don't plan for retirement and they don't pay their taxes.
Two very true statements.
They don't plan for what's going to happen in the next 10 years. And it drives me insane because, I just know what's going to happen. Like they're going to have a very difficult time not going after the next deal. So I really want to get to people before that happens and show them not only how to grow what they're doing, right? Let's get you more transactions. Let's build a huge business. But while we're doing that, let's figure out how to create leverage so that you can not do that in the future. Let's transact because you want to and not because you have to.
Yeah.
Let's figure out how to create pillars of income so that you don't have to rely on a closing every month to pay your bills. Let's figure out a plan for retirement. Let's put money away every month. Let's open up new doors, either through investing or through anything else that creates residual income, and figure out a plan for you to not have to do transactions all the time. And so that's what drew me into it, is watching agents work their butts off and do really well at what they're doing and not having a plan to ever stop doing it.
Yeah, and I mean that's so compelling, and to have someone that's speaking into that place is rare. I mean, like you said, there's 1,000 coaches out there that can teach you how to make $1 million or how to do 100 transactions and 90 listings in 90 days. There's so many of those things, but to get you financially free from real estate is a whole different skill.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love talking about that stuff because from my own personal experience, I see how well it works. Are you going to replace your income off of 3 investment properties? No. The average cash flow right now on an investment property is like $200 a month.
Exactly.
So you buy 3 properties, you're making $600 a month. Great job. You're not going to retire off of that. But what you will retire off of is the value of that home in 15 years. And if I can show you how to buy 10 properties in the next 10 years and create $1 million in equity, very simply, by just doing a few things, at least then you have a retirement plan.
Exactly.
At least I know that you have $1 million that you can go play with and you don't have to rely on a real estate transaction.
Yep.
And it's like, in doing that over a period of time is so much simpler than people think it is.
Oh, yeah.
You don't have to have a whole lot of money.
Right.
You don't have to have a whole lot of experience. It's just a few things that just build up enough confidence to be able to do it. And if you're buying a property every year, there's plenty of time to analyze. There's plenty of time to think about the right decision. There's no like, I need to buy this one today or it's going to go away. You find the right property, you buy one a year, and you forget about it.
Yep.
And then you buy another one the next year.
And time does the heavy lifting.
Like you can do that when you're 18 if you want to keep contributing to an IRA.
Yeah.
right? Is an easy way to make $2.5 million if you put,
Sure.
it's like $120 a month in from when you're 18. By the time that you're 67 years old, it's like $2.5 million.
Sure.
That is the easiest way to do it. But who the hell is going to do that? No one does it, right?
No.
Except my kids. I'm going to make them do it.
Same.
Yeah. So if you didn't do that and you're 33 years old and you have nothing saved, let's buy one investment property.
Mm-hmm.
Let's figure that. Just do one. Just buy one property, and let's look at over time historically what's going to happen to that property. Yes, it's going to go up, and yes, it's going to go down. But over the course of 15 to 20 years, what's going to happen with that property? How much are you going to earn from that one property? And let's do that a couple of different times.
Yeah, and I love how. We say this all the time. It's like people think the market goes like this. But the truth is it goes like this. It's like a stair step that gradually increases.
Yeah. Yeah. If you look at the historical statistics of the Kansas City Metro, every 15 years, properties double in value.
Every 15 years. Yeah, I've heard we're around 5.8% appreciation.
On average.
On average.
Yeah, we've been a lot higher than that lately.
Absolutely.
It will go back down.
It will.
It has to reset. It's totally fine. You don't lose money when properties decrease in value.
No.
That's another myth.
Exactly. You'd have to sell it.
Right. You only lose money when you sell it. Just don't sell it.
Yep.
It will go back up. People freak out and, they start selling things off. But I want to teach people how those down markets are the best places to be in real estate.
Yeah.
Let's figure out how you can make money in any single market that's available. Make money in the high markets, make money in the low markets. Let's figure out how to get you on a plan that you're comfortable and you can make money and do business in any market that exists.
Yep. To see that opportunity.
Yeah.
And that's kind of your pattern. It's like to see those opportunities before everybody else does to maximize that highest potential.
Yeah. And also saying that, like, I am nothing special. I don't even have a college degree. Okay. I have done nothing in my life that any other person can't do. There's nothing about me that I've done in my entire career that any single person in real estate can do. It's not that I'm not an anomaly.
Sure.
Like anybody can do this stuff.
Yeah.
It's just consistency over time and being willing to have delayed gratification, which is, I know, very difficult in this day and age.
But you're right. It's delaying the things that we think we want and being consistent over time about doing that next right thing, that action, that let's analyze that deal. Let's put our capital over here. Let's use our $10,000, $15,000 to deploy it and do the thing that's a challenge versus, go on vacation again. You know?
It is challenging for a lot of people up front because you do have to shift your perspective a little bit.
Yeah, you do.
But like, what other way can you create being a millionaire in 10 years?
I can't think of one.
Yeah.
That's as steadfast and true and as easy if you just do the right things.
Yeah. The one thing that I talk a lot about when I'm giving talks or coaching or whatever is that investing is extremely boring. If you are doing something that's not boring in investing, then it's probably the wrong thing.
You're probably in Vegas.
You're probably in Vegas. We want boring.
Right.
We want things to be as boring as possible. Boring is good. So let's figure out a boring way to invest that creates a lot of money.
Jim, thank you for your vulnerability, for sharing. I know so many people, especially with addictions, struggle with the shame of that and to speak into that you've found a different form of healing that has been life-changing for you.
Yeah, I felt a lot of shame around it for a long time, and I don't anymore. I let all of that go. One, because there's no point in feeling the shame. And second, it's not helping anyone. And I know that my story is there to help others, right? And that's really where the shift started to happen.
Yeah,
is when I see the impact that my story has on other people, right? And my ability to get that story out to people directly affects how I can help other people.
And I know you've been so public about your story and sharing your journey through it all. And I'm so excited that some of our listeners got to hear what it was like and what you went through. I want to make sure that we know where to connect with you, outside of the episode today. But if we want to find you, if we want to hear more about Jim and your story and where to find you in Kansas City for real estate, where are some of the best places to connect with you outside of this?
Yeah. I mean, we're all over social media.
Yeah.
Jim Godwin on social media, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, all of it. We also have a website, exassetproperties.com, our website. And I'm an open book, so like I have people call me all the time
Yep.
asking for help with certain things, helping with certain things. And I'm always willing to help others through anything.
Well, take us home, Jim. What's one piece of advice that you might give people that maybe we're in a same situation as you, struggling or even looking at exploring different forms of healing? Take us home with something that you would recommend.
Yeah, I mean, I think the first thing would be to allow yourself to be open to trying new things and like let go of some of the fear around that and the attachment to an outcome, to like be able to do something that you're not sure is going to work and do it anyway.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of courage. And I know that everyone deep down has that courage within them.
Mm-hmm.
And if they look hard enough, they'll be able to find it. It's always there. And on the other side of that, the not only the fulfillment that you'll feel within yourself is incredible, but then the story that you're able to tell others so that they're feeling free enough to do the same thing
Yeah.
will fill you up in a way that you've like never felt before. When I tell my story to people and I see them open themselves up to trying new things, and that could be anything,
Yeah.
and see them do that because of them hearing about what I've been through. It's an incredible feeling. It really is an incredible feeling. And that helps me to grow.
Yeah. Well, thank you for being a voice, Jim, and for being vulnerable and for sharing today. We appreciate you.
Appreciate you.
Thanks.
Thank you.